Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jordan and today I'm doing a little get ready with me and also chat about Booktube because a few of you have kind of asked about my makeup routine and have wanted to see that, and then also I said that I was going to talk about Booktube and answer your questions about Booktube. So here we are, doing two birds with one stone. So to start off with my makeup routine, I already failed. I need my moisturizer. Okay, so I have my Pond's Dry Skin Cream. I'm going to put on my face. And I just started by cleaning my skin and stuff. So I'm just going to start this out and then I'm going to start answering your questions. So the first one is from Sarah Dorr, or @BooksForSarah on Twitter, and she asks, sorry if I missed this, but what's your favorite book? So going in with my Body Shop Fresh Nude Foundation in Bali Vanilla, which is my go-to foundation. I'll start doing my face. So basically I have two favorite books. One of them is The Goose Girl by Shannon Hale, which I've already talked about on this channel. And I have a review up for that, so if you missed it, it's there. I'll link it. The other one, which I haven't talked on my channel about it in a while, and I've never done a review for it, which I feel like I should, is Blood Red Road. Both of those books were just really important to me at the times that I read them. The Goose Girl, I really related to the character and the character growth, and I just think it's just such a universal and beautiful story that could be enjoyed by someone of any age. Whereas Blood Red Road was more specific to me, I think. The Goose Girl I think is just objectively good, whereas Blood Red Road, I don't think it's for everyone, but it just spoke to me at an important time in my life. I think another one of my favorite books is probably Golden Sun by Pierce Brown, which is the sequel to Red Rising. And that one I think is another one of those kind of objectively good, but especially if you're into science fiction, I just think it's such a good representation of what good science fiction can be. It's just, the characters are so brilliant. It goes more into the setting and world than the first book, and I don't know, I just really think it fleshes out everything in the first book while having just such a wild ride of a plot. It's just such smart writing, everything just feels so justified, but still shocking and surprising and so many good twists and turns. I don't know. I think that's a brilliant book. So, top three, probably The Goose Girl, Golden Sun, Blood Red Road, but now I feel like Crooked Kingdom might make the list too. It's up there. Honestly, it's one of my favorite books that I've read. It's just so well done. Leigh Bardugo absolutely killed it. So there's a few for you, Sarah. So the next question is from Rachel @Vampirish on Twitter, and she said, not bookish specifically, but narrative related. What are some of your favorite TV shows in terms of writing? Includes both already finishing and or currently airing. That is a hard one because I feel like there's so many that I could talk about for this, but I feel like Game of Thrones, obviously. Oh, sorry. Look at me already going ahead. And I did this in the wrong order. Usually I do concealer first, but I'm just a mess, so that's the way it is. So this is the Pixie by Petra Multi-Balm Stick in Baby Petal. So I usually put that because it's kind of more bronzy colored, kind of all the way up. And then this is the same Multi-Balm Stick, but in Wild Rose. And I put this more towards the apples of my cheeks and blend that out because it's more of a kind of dusty rose color. You'll see that I use a lot of blush because I like blush. Favorite TV shows, or TV shows that I think have the best writing. Obviously Game of Thrones. Whether or not this season did it for you, which I have very mixed feelings about this season. If you've seen the show, you have to admit it is just brilliant writing. From the Battle of the Bastards to the Red Wedding to just all of the first 3 seasons, it's absolutely incredible. Some of the best character development, dialogue, politics, tension, subversions, character arcs. It's just brilliant. Another one that I think is really, really good, and especially started out really good, I think it wavered for a couple seasons, but Orphan Black, really smart show, really good, and just so well performed by Tatiana Maslany. So this is my concealer. It's the Instant Age Rewind Eraser Dark Circles Treatment Concealer with Goji Berry in light, because I'm pale. And then I'm also going to go in with the NYX HD Studio Photogenic Concealer in CW03, and I'm going to put this under my eyes because it's more peachy. and it'll help with those dark circles. Another show that I think has absolutely brilliant writing is season 1 of Cobra Kai. So well done. Comedy gold. It's got some of the best like subversions. I think it's the best reboot ever made of a TV show, or like of a movie, especially into a TV show. I'm currently watching season 2. I'm not loving it as much as season 1, but I still think it's very good. So we'll see how I feel by the end, but right now I'm digging it still, despite it not being the like absolute quality dream that the first season was. But yeah, those are the ones that I can think of off the top of my head. So the next one is from Chris at Bread and Books on Twitter, and they ask, what are your future plans for your channel? And I did kind of a video discussing this where I kind of give you updates, but I'm just going to continue to make the same kind of videos. I'm going to be talking about writing a lot this summer, I think, and doing more analysis videos, trope talks, that kind of thing, as well as videos like this that are a little bit more laid back, just discussing booktube or books or that kind of thing. So I think it'll just be more of the same, but with a slight more specific focus on writing. And then there's like going to be probably a few travel vlog type things coming up as well from Asia, from BookCon. Wow, I can really talk today, so that's a great start. So this is like the base of my skin. Usually I do concealer first and then these, but I am a mess today, so that didn't happen. So now I like to move on to the powdery stuff. If this was baking, you mix your wet ingredients and then you mix your dry ingredients and you put it on your face, and that's what we're doing today. This is new. I just got this. Isn't it pretty? It's the NYX Professional Makeup Highlight and Contour Pro Palette. It looks all fancy. It's not, because it's NYX. So I don't usually well, I do now, but I didn't usually contour. We're learning how to do that. I'm going to try chiseling my face. Catherine at Catherine Reads asks, if you could take the place of any protagonist, who would it be and why? That is a hard one, because I read a lot of sci-fi and fantasy, and I'm not gonna lie, while I love reading about it, I feel like being in the place of most of those protagonists would kind of blow. I'm just gonna look at my bookshelf. Probably, you know what? I was gonna say Harry Potter, because that's the thing. If it was like a side character, this would be easy, but because it's the protagonist and the protagonist usually has to deal with a lot of crap, it's making it much harder. Maybe I would do the Goose Girl, because I feel like she has to go through some stuff, but it teaches her a lot. And it's not like the worst. It's not great, but it's not terrible. But like a lot of the stuff I'm seeing, like I would not want to be Harry Potter. I would not want to be in like Six of Crows gang. I wouldn't want to be in, you know, Aragon. I wouldn't want to be in The Fault in Our Stars. Most of this blows. Maybe Percy Jackson. I feel like that'd be fun, you know? If that world existed, that would be fun. And being Percy, I could get behind that. Maybe I'd be, yeah, we're gonna go with that. Either Annie from The Goose Girl or Percy from Percy Jackson, even though he has to fight monsters. Okay, so we're gonna start with contour, and I'm just gonna try to chisel my face into something that's better than my face. I'm going in with this color, because you don't want, when you're chiseling out your cheeks, you don't want to go with something too warm, because it's supposed to look like shadows. Or that's what I've been told, at least. I'm literally making a jaw for myself. Do I look snatched yet? And then, now that we're chiseled, we're going to take this one, which is a little bit warmer, and mix it with this one, which is quite a bit warmer. And now we're going to kind of ooh, no! So we're going to kind of like bronze a little bit. This is not going very well. Good enough. And then we're going to take a cleaner makeup brush. It's by Quo. I don't know if that matters. And we're going to go into the light shades, in the banana-y shade, and I'm going to go under the eyes. So we're just going to powder the rest of my face so that I don't look like I am greasy. Because that's the thing with that foundation. I love it because it looks super natural. Like in real life, it looks good because you look all dewy and cute, but on camera, it looks like you're greasy. So you just gotta be a little careful. Then I'm going to go with some more blush because I like blush. And this one's like a coral shade. It's the Milani Baked Blush in Luminoso 5. So I'm gonna like take advantage of the last like remaining bits of my tan that I have from Asia and do kind of a coral shade because I cannot pull this off when I'm pale. But if you put it on the bridge of your nose, it looks like you just got like sun-kissed a little bit, you know? The next one is from Brianna at Briannavore on Twitter. And she asks, how do you decide which trends to do, like tags, video ideas, books, etc.? So obviously an easy one as far as like books is just like if there's a new big release. That's the thing, I don't really do new releases because I'm always like 16,000 books behind on my TBR. But if it's a big popular book like Throne of Glass, ACOTAR, Red Queen, Divergent, that kind of thing, then I'm probably gonna read and review it because most people have read it, so you know, they're looking for the tea on those books. Highlight! That's what I'm missing. So this is like the Dose of Dew NYX thing, and this changed my life because it looks like you're sweating but in a hot way. Like in Pirates of the Caribbean, how they all look like kind of gross and sweaty, but like they also look hot. That's what this does to your face. Look, you just, ooh. Also tags and stuff. I don't really do many tags. I don't usually do tags if I'm tagged. It's just like if I see a tag that it speaks to me, like the Bookish Real Talk tag or Booktube Real Talk tag, Booktube newbie tag, that kind of thing, then I'll do a tag. I try to just stick to my main ones, which is like either lists has become a thing on my channel or reviews or trope talks. I usually stick to my guns, and then every once in a while I will see something that I'm like, I want to do that. And so I take part, or like a discussion or whatever. But it's just like, do I have something to say about that? Yes, no, maybe so. And then I, go from there. Great answer to that question, Jordan. Broken King at Andrit Saucel asks, how do you believe the resurrection trope can be done right? Well, that's a good question that I don't really have an answer for, because for the most part I just hate the resurrection trope. I guess the only way I think it can be done well, I mean, it most of the time just feels really cheap. My leg is so asleep, oh no. I feel like most of the time it just feels cheap. But I guess if you were to do it right, it would probably have a cost, So like if they get brought back in exchange for another life, or, it has to have some sort of balance, I think, for it to be okay. But even then, I feel like for the most part, if they're dead, just stay dead. Okay, so the last ones on Twitter are from Laura May, at Laura May Author, who said, how do you stay so fabulous? And like, thank you Laura May. And compliments make me uncomfortable. The other one is from Heather W_2806 or at 2806 Heather W, who asked, do you have any tips for someone who wants to start a booktube channel? I have a whole video on tips on how to start a booktube channel, but I guess the first tip would be to start one and just start making videos and getting comfy. Focus on creating quality videos, not necessarily in like quality camera equipment, that kind of thing, but just making sure that your videos are well edited, getting comfortable in front of the camera, and make sure that you really think about your brand and what kind of videos you want to make. Are you more comedic? Are you more analytical? What are your goals? And who are you, basically? Okay, the next one is from Yusuf Walid, who asks, how much joy do you really get from ripping apart a book? So much joy. I mean, no. Not a lot of, like, joy, I would say. I mean, it depends on the book. I had a lot of fun ripping apart The Red Queen. It didn't like bring me joy, but it brought me relief. It frustrated me to my very core, and that was a way for me to let it out, Let it go. Move on with my life, move forward. This is my beautiful Carity Picante palette. Isn't that beautiful though? Isn't she pretty? I also don't really know what kind of look I want to do today, but I'm thinking kind of like purpley and silvery, white-ish, like kind of hollow. I don't know. Hollow's not the right word. So Caleb Bueo asks, do you worry about if making harsh reviews will affect your ability to traditionally publish in the future? Honestly, kind of. Cool, so it has been about 2 hours. My camera died suddenly and I realized that I did not charge my backup battery. So yeah, time has passed. I've eaten some greasy chicken, probably ruined the makeup around my mouth, but such is life. So we're just gonna continue like nothing happened. What's important to me is building trust with my audience, and I think that maybe publishers won't recognize that, but having an audience that trusts me and wants to support me is something that's important to me. So if I self-publish, at least I know I'll have people that, really want to see me succeed because they know that I think critically and they know my style and tastes, and in that sense, I'm setting myself up in a good way. But as far as traditional publishing, I do worry a little bit about that. That being said, I have so many things that I want to do in my life. Photography, writing, directing, so, if it does impact me, at least, like, I can self-publish or like indie published maybe, and then do other things with my life. So I think it'll be okay. But yes, it is something that I have considered. Today, I think I'm going to dip into the Picante palette. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go into the Just Peachy palette, because this is a little bit more neutral. This is a little bit more warm. And I think I'm going to use a combination of these two for my crease, my transition shade. Look at me using the lingo. I also have extremely hooded eyes, which is why like I can wear makeup that is just as bright as every other person, but because my eyes are extremely hooded, it looks like I'm not wearing makeup, which great. I'm so glad I put so much effort into it. But also it looks a lot more natural whether I want it to or not. Oh, I don't even need this right now. Just making things harder for myself. I love that. Also, holy crap, your girl has become so sweaty. I walked my dog and it got really nice out, which it wasn't before, so I was wearing this big old sweater and I started sweating a lot, so now I'm gonna powder my face like crazy because trying to get that under control. Okay, so the next one, Christina G asks, is it harder to review books that you liked or books that you didn't? I would say it's a lot harder to review books that I liked. With books that you don't like, it's easy to kind of pinpoint what didn't work for you, in my opinion at least. Whereas with books that you like, sometimes it's just the feeling that it evokes. You know, sometimes you connect with certain things and it's hard to put into words and figure out exactly what's causing that. It's also a lot easier to gush, I think. And so it's kind of hard to stay like analytical, which for my channel is like a big thing where I'm trying to really pick out the nuts and bolts and try to figure out, as far as like the overall story, characters, plot, all of that, what is working and what's not working for me. So I find it can be harder to identify those things when you're enjoying the book, whereas it's a lot easier, it stands out a lot more when you don't enjoy it, which is why I think reviewing books that you enjoy can be harder. That's a good question. Brianna Vore asks, is there anything about Booktube that annoys you? Yes, there are a few things about Booktube that annoys me. I don't want to be like a problematic queen, because I do love the community. Honestly, for the most part, this community is just fantastic. Okay, so I'm going into Ash and Bittersweet and the Carroty palette, and I'm gonna darken up that transition. So yeah, there are a few things in the Booktube community that annoy me. Most of the stuff stems from Twitter. All the Twitter, like, cancel culture dramas, that annoys me so much. I think cancel culture in general is just, it's become a lot. And like, that's the thing. There are some things that should most definitely be cancelled, but I don't think that the internet should act as, you know, judge, jury, and executioner. If we learned anything from the James Charles, Tati Westbrook, Jeffree Star shenanigans, is that maybe we should listen to both sides of the story and not be so quick to judge and hop on hate trains and cancel people. I feel like people can change. I don't know. There's some things that you can't come back from, like sexual assault, for example. The mob mentality needs to die. And it's in Booktube too. Like, because the community is getting bigger and because it's a fairly like progressive community, I would say. So we're pretty quick to like make sure that the members of the community, everyone is fine, and to do that we get super protective of everyone and hop down people's throats. I don't think we need to do that necessarily. I don't think we need to hop down authors' throats. I don't think we need to pour gasoline on the fires of internet drama, is what I'm saying. And I feel like Booktube does that a lot. There's a lot of unnecessary drama and tea and whatever that goes on that just doesn't need to. So I'm using Spice and I'm also using Fruity, which are like purpley shades, and I'm going to put that in my crease also. Other things that annoy me in Booktube. Another thing that I really hate in the kind of Booktube community is like people like generalizing or ganging up on big Booktubers, which to be fair, I have kind of done in the past, which is really crappy of me and I'm not going to do it in the future, or like clumping them all together like they're all the same person, when that's just not the case, because everyone is different. We're all beautiful snowflakes. Sophia Bartolomeo says, do you think that bigger booktubers like Poland Banana Books and Jessie the Reader don't have genuine opinions on most books because they're sponsored by a lot of publishers to promote books and authors, or because they don't want to go against the norms and say a book everyone loves is trash. No! A, their audience is different. B, the books that they enjoy are different. And C, they just might not be as critical of readers as everyone. I feel bad about doing this. You know, this whole like conspiracy, like, oh, they're working with publishers. So, and I do think that that might influence people a little bit. I know it probably would with me if I was like paid to do a review of a book. I would struggle to be completely unbiased in a review of a book if I was being paid to do it. So I'm never gonna do that on this channel. Getting sent free books, that's not gonna sway you. You just might not be as critical of a reader, or you might like books that I think are trash, like Cassandra Clare books or like whatever, and you might just enjoy all of those, and or you might just choose to talk about books that you enjoyed on your channel rather than books that you don't like. I choose to be a little bit more critical. There's lots of other people that do, but I'm not going to talk about big booktubers like big booktuber like it's like some conspiracy thing. You know, I'm just not doing that anymore. Yamo says, do you ever just say F it and read a book for the sake of entertainment even though it's crappy, or do you like going into every read critically? Yeah, I mean, there's definitely books that, especially in the summertime, I think, that I go into and I'm like, we're just having fun here. Most contemporary romances that I pick up, which it's rare when I do pick one up, but when I do, I just kind of am like, we're just gonna have fun with this, and I just kind of turn the old brain off and enjoy. Lots of Sarah Dessen books. To All the Boys I've Loved Before. It's only if it's like kind of problematic that I'm like, and she's back on. Like Anna and the French Kiss comes back full force, and I'm like, this is what I hate about this is what I hate about this is what needs to die. That's how it goes. Chicky Scares You says, what's the hardest part of reviewing a book that you didn't end up liking? I guess it's kind of the same as figuring out, you know, in a book that you do like, what you liked and what you didn't. Oh, sorry. This is the ColourPop Super Shock Shadow in Bay. The hardest part of any review, whether it be positive or negative, is just going through and really, like, thinking critically about every part of the book and trying to identify what made you feel certain ways, what worked, what didn't. Oh, we are going dramatic today. And we just bring that down to the lower lash line a bit. Undercover Dragon asks, booktubers that inspired you to start a channel. This one's hard. I feel like my introduction to Booktube was Katie Tastic, and so I guess she's one of them. Ariel Bassett is definitely one, because hers is a little bit more critical. I love her channel. She's one of the OG ones that I watched. I just feel like there's a lot of booktubers that I watched that made me want to be a part of this community. I feel like I got in at a really good time too, because like right around when I started was when all the people that I'm friends with now kind of either started being more consistent or started getting popular. It was like shortly after, like Paperback Dreams and The Insane Reader. And so like it was nice because as I was kind of coming up, there was a lot of people that were doing videos like mine. I feel like we were kind of figuring it out together. It was nice because there was other people that were kind of like doing things that weren't necessarily like the same kind of videos that had been made before. Ooh, we're going for the silver, I guess. Right when I was starting to make YouTube videos was kind of when I found the film analysis section of YouTube, like video essayists and stuff. So that's kind of what I wanted to bring into Booktube a little bit, was this kind of more analytical approach to reviewing books. Mackie Boy the Strong Lad asks, has having a Booktube channel changed how you decide what books you read? Definitely. I still reread books, but I used to reread books a lot more when I didn't have a Booktube channel. It's not that I have to be more aware, it's just like by osmosis, because I know what other people are reading. I am more aware. I would pick up books from like 10 years ago as much as I would pick up like new books. It's made me more conscious of new releases. Also just like authors that I wouldn't have known otherwise. So that's been like a really nice thing about Booktube, but I also have to think about like what books are probably gonna get views if I review them. It's just like a thing in the back of your head. If I read Red Queen or if I read Blood Red Road again, like what's gonna get me more views? Probably Red Queen. It happens, unfortunately. Okay, so because I am feeling extra bold, I'm also gonna put this on, which is the Supernova Shadow by ColourPop in the shade Lucky Penny. Helen Lane asks, why and how did you decide to start a Booktube channel? I've been wanting to do it for a while. I also moved probably just over a year before I started my channel, and all of the kind of bookish friends that I had were back in Calgary, where I'm from. Sharing book things with them wasn't the same anymore. We're a half a country away, and when you live in a country as big as Canada, that's a long ways away. That's kind of why I decided that was the right time to start, was because I needed to. Oh, and another reason was it was my gap year, so I finally had the time to start a YouTube channel. Mina Sean asks, how do you get over post-book depression? After completing a great series and getting attached to the characters, I feel so sad that it's all over. How do I cure this disease? There is no cure. I mean, I guess the only cure is, you know, it's gonna be so much worse if like the author tries to shove out another book in the series. I have witnessed so many series where it's like, this was meant to be 3 books, or this was meant to be a book, and because it was successful, they're putting out another one. The character arcs are complete. I feel satisfied, even though I'm so sad that I can't live in this world any longer. I don't want to mess with perfection kind of thing. That's how I felt about the Blood Red Road series. It's such a standalone. The other 2 books are absolute garbage. And like, that's why I'm worried if Leigh Bardugo puts out a new Six of Crows book, which she's mentioned maybe writing a 3rd one, I will cry because like, it's perfect. Just leave it be. I feel so satisfied with the way that it ended. Hurt, broken, traumatized, destroyed, but also satisfied. So I guess just like reminding yourself of that and thinking about how much worse it could be if it continued, then, you know, that might help you get over it. Zainab Taha asks, what advice would you give to someone who wants to start making book-related videos? Do it, probably. Kanza Hanifa asks, do you always see what other booktubers say about a book before deciding to read it, or do you see the book rating on Goodreads, or do you just pick it up based on your own interest? That's another good question, because it's kind of a combination of all 3. Sometimes I just walk into a bookstore and pick up a few books. Usually I do check on Goodreads to make sure that it's not like got an abysmal score. There are popular books that I don't like, but usually if it's extremely unpopular, I'll probably also hate it. And sometimes I'll watch other people's non-spoiler reviews, but for the most part I like forming my own ideas about a book. How About No asks, is ARC reviewing something you'd be interested in doing from time to time on your channel? Like, yes, but also probably no. Like, I'm probably gonna pick up a few ARCs at BookCon. I just have so many books to read. I don't want to feel pressure because I got an ARC to read it. Like, I'd rather just like buy a book or like borrow a book that I actually want to read of my own volition. If I have an ARC of a book that I really want to read, then frick yes, I would review it. But I also like doing spoiler reviews, and I feel like if it's an advanced reader copy before the book comes out, you can't really do that, can you? So, I don't know. Reda Yambe, I'm sorry, asks, how did you start your photography business? This is not booktube related, but through lots of hard work and perseverance. I actually have a YouTube channel that's still up on my photography stuff, so if you look up Jordan Harvey photography, you can still find some videos. Midwest Bookworm asks, would you ever do a reading vlog? I should probably continue to do makeup at this point. So I'm going to do my brows, and for this I have the ColourPop Brow Boss Gel in dark brown, and also my Annabelle Universal Ebony brow liner. I have done a reading vlog on the Grisha Longathon, like it was the Grisha series, and that was really fun, and I'm actually kind of working on one right now, but I'd love to do more in the future, like kind of on and off. I feel like reading vlogs that are kind of travel vlogs might be fun. I feel like everyone has this, but you have like one eyebrow that you just like so much more than your other eyebrow. This eyebrow has a nice arch, it has a little bit more of a tail, it's just the hairs go in nice directions, easier. This eyebrow is a lot flatter, thicker, hairier, less cooperative. It's just, this one sucks, and that's the tea. DG Writes says, hi Jordan, I'm glad you're back and I'm excited for your upcoming videos. My question is, how do you find time to manage booktube while working, writing, traveling, etc.? Good question. There's just not enough time in the day. Right now I'm very fortunate in that I'm living at home, so I can kind of take the summer and do flexible work, so like background work on film and TV, photography work, YouTube and that kind of thing, and focus on that. During the work year, it was really hard juggling all of that and having like trying to have any sort of semblance of a social life, so usually it was either YouTube or photography. Writing just didn't happen at all, and then work. This stuff is really nice in like holding your brow hairs, but you gotta be careful because it can get a little clumpy too. You just have to be delicate. And the last 2 questions that I have come from Rachel Marie Book Junkie. The first one is, favorite book that you've read because of Booktube. So I'm just gonna do mascara while I do this, which is the most dangerous thing that I've ever done in my life. Oh, by the way, my mascara comes from 100% pure fruit pigmented mascara in ultra lengthening. But yeah, favorite book that I've read because of a booktuber. Probably The Six of Crows duology, which I read for the readathon that I did with Kat and Cindy. I had it on my shelf for forever, but I probably wouldn't have picked it up because I tried the first chapter and Juiced frickin' sucks. Yost, whatever his name is, Toast, I don't frickin' care. He was the worst, and so it turned me off of it immediately. And so it sat on my shelf forever, and eventually I probably would have gotten to it, but I would not have read it as soon as I did if it were not for Kat and Cindy. So thank you, Kat and Cindy. I really like those books. And the final question, a booktuber you want to be for a day. Probably Cindy, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, there's so many booktubers I'd love to be. It'd be cool being like Christina, because she's obviously the biggest booktuber. Caleb from Insane Reader would be fun to be because he's fun. But I feel like if I had to choose, it would be Cindy because she's just like one of the funniest people alive. And so if I could be her, maybe I could like osmosis some of her natural charm and hilarity. Cool, yeah, so this has been a little makeup tutorial, I guess. Get ready with me, and I hope you liked it. Ooh, this is treacherous. Also, for the people who ask questions, thank you for asking questions, and I hope you enjoyed my answers to those questions. To finish off this look, I'm gonna quickly put on a little bit of lip liner. Ow, ow, ow. This needs to be sharpened. Ow, 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 ow. Good enough. That is evil. We're just gonna put on some natural looking lips, and then, yeah. I feel like such a YouTuber every time I do that. Thank you for joining. Sorry this video was a mess, and I will see you next time. Bye! Je suis dans la vie comme dans mes rêves, et quand je crève, je suis le cri de qui me croit ou qui me prie. Je suis comme ça dans la vie, je renie jusqu'à mon sang et je ne sens plus qui...